Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Welcome to today's segment of the Strange Ink Show. And we're super duper excited to share a few announcements before we dive into today's topic, inshallah. And one of those announcements is something we posted on our profile on Instagram yesterday at Strange Incorporated underscore, Strange Incorporated with the underscore in between the two words. And that is an upcoming competition for ICNA, inshallah, where there's going to be a poetry slam. So that's such an amazing opportunity to just have your work heard in front of a live audience, inshallah. And that's going to be in Baltimore, MD, on Memorial Day, inshallah. So check it out. Everything that you need to know is in the link in our bio, and then you can submit your poem through there if you're interested in competing, inshallah. And that's one of the things we have going on in May. And the second opportunity that we have for you, if you're a writer, is something called the Book Awards ceremony. So that's something we're going to be doing, but we've opened up submissions, inshallah, for the month of May, and that will keep going on through May, inshallah. So if you are an author, if you are a Muslim woman and you have published a book in the last maybe couple of years, I think it's 21 to 22 to 23, you got to double check that for me, inshallah. But the link is in our bio. We would love to have you submit your work, inshallah. We have some amazing judges from all around the world who are doing some great work in the publishing world, and they will be the ones who are going to be reading over your work, inshallah. So check that out. And those are my two main announcements before we dive into today's episode, inshallah. So today's episode is it's actually inspired by our mission for Strange Ink. And before I kind of dive in, my name is Aishah. I'm the founder of Strange Ink, and our mission is to elevate the authentic voices of Muslim women. And that is what the theme of today's episode is going to be. So I hope you enjoy it, inshallah. And that theme is your authentic author voice. And this is, I think, something that's been very interesting to me personally. And I think that hopefully, inshallah, you'll also appreciate it. But when we sit down to write as writers, there are so many things that are known to stop us from doing our best work. We hear it all the time, the idea of procrastination. Or there's this writer's block, or there is this perfectionism, this way of doing things which can be a little overwhelming sometimes, and it stops us from doing our best work. So I thought it might be interesting to see what our actual writer voice sounds like when we are most authentic to ourselves. And this is, inshallah, this is going to be done in like 3 points. So the first way that we know that we are writing with our authentic author voice is that you don't have that mean voice in your head, right? And what I mean by that is, for example, when we are walking down the street and we see someone, it's easy to make assumptions about who that person is, what they are like, and really it's like these judgments, or there's this critical voice which comes back to us sometimes and tells us, like, why are you even bothering to do something like this? Why are you making the effort to write? And that voice is something that is so far away from who we really are, our true authentic voice. And to know that we are being true to ourselves is when there's just no noise and it's just complete beautiful silence. And that means being present, being here. And that shows up when it shows up in your writing. You can tell that your fingers are just like, you're just there. It doesn't matter what's going on. You don't have all of these things holding you back, all of these chatterings and things. And inshallah, by the end of the episode, I'm going to give like a couple of tips. I just want to leave you with a small amount of things that you can do. I don't want to overwhelm you, but small things that we can do in order to work towards that authentic author voice, inshallah. So the first point is, you don't hear that mean voice in your head. You're not making assumptions about yourself or other people. You are not negative. You are you just are, right? I think that's the best way to describe it. I'm trying to think of the words, but you just are. You are present. You take things as they are, and that doesn't mean that you become like seeing the world through rose-colored glasses, right? It means that you begin to see things as they are, even when they are not what you want them to be, right? So maybe you're around certain people or certain environment and you see things like, okay, this is just not working for me right now, but you're able to recognize it in a way which is like, okay, this is what's happening, and you have this acceptance of reality as it is, right? And that's part of your authentic author voice. And by the way, these are just a few things and a few symptoms of our authentic author voice, but there are so many other things. I just put it down to 3. So inshallah, maybe if you think of some more, I would love to read it in the comments, inshallah, or you can just message me on WhatsApp, inshallah. We also have a business WhatsApp for Strange Ink, so I'd love to hear your opinions. And the second thing, like the second way that you know it is your authentic author voice, is that you feel this openness, right? You feel like this expansion, this expansion of your energy, as so to call it, or your heart feels like it's in an open place and it's not feeling so constricted, right? And when you're in that space of your heart being in a more open place, you're in a place of abundance. It's like a feeling of abundance. And abundance, I don't mean financial abundance or abundance in specifically money. I guess that is financial, right? But you know what I mean, right? So it's like this feeling of openness, this expansion, and a part of it is being grateful, right? And that's what this feeling and this symptom is of your authentic voice. So number 1, you feel like you are present as things are. You're not overwhelmed by these thoughts and these assumptions of people. You're not critical of yourself or other people. You just see things as they are, right? The second symptom of the authentic voice, symptoms can be good things as well, by the way. It's being so like categorized as being something negative, but symptoms can be beautiful things as well. And the second symptom is that you feel this openness in your heart. And there's actually narrations in hadiths as well about the idea of something called bir, which means righteousness. And there's this openness that your heart feels when you do good things. And that's how you get to the authentic voice, by doing good deeds, right? And you feel this it's literally like a constriction in our hearts that we feel, which is called itham, and that is something which is it means that it's not so good. You're maybe not making the right choices, and you'll feel this constriction in your heart. So the way to recognize that you are being authentic to yourself, hence you're being authentic in your voice as well, is feeling this openness in your heart, which is inshallah from good deeds and just being true to yourself as well. And the final symptom as well of being in your authentic voice is that you don't feel rushed, right? So there is this feeling that we as writers are so overwhelmed by sometimes, and that is as soon as we open our ideas or we open our manuscript, there's these things like, I have to hit this deadline and I have to hit that deadline, and it has to be done like this, especially if, for example, you're interested in being in the traditional publishing world where there's a lot of deadlines. There's a certain amount of books they want to sell every year, and especially if you're a kind of person who likes your space, you like to work being authentic as possible to yourself, and a sign of that is that you don't feel rushed, and that isn't because you don't have things going on, because you can have so many things going on in your life. You could be a mother of small children, you can be a mother of older children, you can be a woman who works full-time, you can be in so many different roles, but you feel this feeling like, I don't feel rushed. And that's when you know you're in a good place and you're being true to yourself as well. But as soon as that feeling comes, like this urgency and this feeling like, okay, if I don't do this, this is going to happen, and this means this, and this means this, and that in itself is something telling you that something isn't right, and you shouldn't have to feel that way. You should be able to take your time doing things, but you're still doing them, but you're taking your time doing them at a pace which is good for you. And you know, I'm sure as well as I do, that the world pushes us to do things and pop things out constantly, project after project. And I know this because I used to be this way, and it has to be done at this time, and it has to be on this timeline, otherwise we're going to miss the thing that we are looking for, and at the end of it, it's just another project, and it will still be there, but you don't have to, and I don't have to rush in order to make it happen, where everyone and everything around me is going to feel the wrath of the rush, right? So those are just 3 things that show us that we are in our authentic author voice. And when we're in this space, when we are in this space, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can get in this space, inshallah. But when we're in this space, you feel you're gonna actually, when you sit down, you open your laptop or you open your notebook and you begin to write, you are going to feel like you are in the space, you are in the zone, right? Inshallah, you're just gonna feel like, okay, I'm not rushed. I feel like this openness, when you're open, all of these ideas and just beautiful things just come, and that's why it's the feeling of abundance, right? All of these abundance of inspiration and ideas. And even if that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll keep writing, but you feel kind of like at peace, you don't feel rushed even if the ideas don't come, because you know deep down, hey, I'm being true to myself, and at this time, you know, writing this piece of work is just not aligned with me at this moment, and that is totally okay, because it will be when it's ready, inshallah, because everything happens at the perfect time, and that's how you know you are in a good place and you're in your authentic space and your authentic voice, when you understand that sometimes it's not that it's our timing, it's Allah's timing, and Allah's timing is always perfect. And that even comes in the inspiration that comes to us when we write. Sometimes we just need to procrastinate, and being in that authentic voice is like, okay, I'm fine with that, inshallah, and let's see what comes from it. So there are so many other symptoms of the authentic voice. Like I said, I would love to hear from you. We would love to hear from you at Strange Ink, inshallah, what some of those are for you. But I don't want to leave you without giving you a couple of tips on how you can work towards getting to that authentic voice, inshallah. And the first thing is just being aware that when you are in that space, and I'm sure you have all felt it before, when you are in that space, just to take a moment and breathe it in and just recognize it, like, this feels good right now, this feels really good right now, and just appreciating that and just being present in it, right? It could be a moment with your children, it could come at a time when you are standing in front of Allah and you're praying to Him, it could be when you are writing that beautiful piece of literature that is gonna, it's just, you're not writing it for anybody, but you are writing it because it's right for you, and you know that it is the most pleasing thing to Allah, because you're being true to yourself in a way that you're writing good words, you know, you're doing good things. So yeah, just be aware of it when it comes, and hold on to it and recognize it. And likewise, recognize it when it isn't that time, that you are in your authentic voice as well. So think about, like, why do I feel like this? What is causing me to feel or hear these negative thoughts? What's making me feel rushed right now? What is making me feel like as if my heart is constricted? And just thinking about that, because there's always symptoms around us, right? So basically, so that's one thing that we can do. The second thing that we can do, inshallah, we'll finish with this, is protect. It's 3 words: protect your peace. You have to protect your peace, right? And I know that's a wide statement, but it comes in so many ways. So for example, one way of protecting your peace, you can think of your own ways as well, inshallah. One way is to declutter your life, right? And by that I mean clear out your closet with, like, even something as small as the clothes that you don't wear for a long time. And this isn't like some self-help advice, but all of these things, like just decluttering your life, this advice, it gives you space for the things you love to do, and one of them things is writing. So anyway, thank you so much for your time today. We will speak soon. My daughter is here. She's asking for pineapple juice, so I'm going to give it to her, inshallah. She just turned 3, Allahumma barik, May the 11th. So everyone have a blessed day. Don't forget, we have Ikna coming up, inshallah, the Poetry Slam. We also have the Book Awards ceremony. And finally, inshallah, we are going to end with something, inshallah, we're going to try and do, and that is by putting our hand on our hearts, and saying, my voice has power. My voice has power. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Everyone have a blessed day.